Hi everyone, thanks for watching. It's Kate Taylor, Regional Educator for Gemma Lambert's The Nail Team. Today I'm going to be showing you a beautiful autumn design, a quick glitter fade, and then finishing off with some one stroke. I'm using the Autumn Mixes, Autumn Frost and Almost Nude by Glam and Glitz acrylic colours. The acrylic powder does have a slight shimmer to it, but it's quite hard to pick up on the camera. It's gorgeous. It's one of my favourite nudes from that range. So I'm going to be working really wet because I don't want to, if you were doing this on a client, you'd be encapsulating it. So you don't want to build any thickness out of this. So just starting from the cuticle area, making sure I've got full coverage, stroke the acrylic powder down until it's nice and faded, and then I'm going to take a small bead of NSI's Crystal Clear and just dipping it into the Autumn Frost glitter and just tapping it into place and patting it back up on itself. So I've got a nice sort of fade going off there. I'm also just thinking about where I'm going to be putting some one stroke, so I want to make sure the glitter isn't going to get completely covered over. So just move it up a little bit more. Just going to leave it to set for a second, and then I'm just going to give it a little layer of clear over the top just so I can file it smooth. Need to make sure that all that glitter is covered by the acrylic, that you're encapsulating it correctly. You don't want any bits sticking out. Once you're happy that it's all covered, just let that set. Going to get the little bit of glitter out of my brush, make sure it's nice and clean. I've just been using my Perfect Nails size 12 acrylic brush. It's my favourite one. This is my Crystal Nails One Move 2 and the Barbara 2, and these are Crystal Nails One Move paints, acrylic paints. They're specially designed for doing one stroke with. Just make sure that's sat nicely before I give it a quick file over. Move everything out of the way. With the brushes, you need to make sure the art brushes, you need to make sure that you're cleaning them correctly and that you're not letting the paint go right up in the one stroke, because if as soon as it gets up there, it gets stuck and then your brush is it's wrecked, unfortunately. So you do need to make sure you clean them. In my water, I will be just adding 1 drop of fairy liquid just to make sure that the hairs on the brush are cleaned. Give that a little buff, and because I am doing one stroke, I've used my white block just to take the scratches of the surface of the acrylic out. Remove my dust. Just small amounts of paint. You don't want to put huge amounts on there. You should be wasting it. You can always add a little bit more paint as you go on. Just open this one. I'm going to be using some nice browns and yellows, a little bit white. Get myself organised. I'm going to try and zoom in so I can get as close as possible to the one stroke that I'm going to be painting. And that's just to show you, as I've got now dipped my brush into the paint. Blend on my hand, and then using small tapping and pushing motion, I'm going to do my first layer of my petals. As you can see, I'm gently tapping, but at the same time moving the brush around to create that wideness in each petal and giving it a little wiggle. That's the first layer done. Again, double dipping, so the brown is on the inside of the angled brush and the yellow is on the outside, I've given it a blend on my hand because it's a nice warm palette, and then I'm going over my first layer again, and this just brings the pigment colour of the paint out. Reload as soon as your brush gets dry, don't leave it to dry out too much. And as you can see, the colour of the brown and yellow has really popped on that second coat. I'm going to do some inner petals. You want to layer it when you do second petals. You don't want to do them at the same size so they're overlapping completely the first lot. You want to do it more like a brickwork effect. Just giving that a wiggle in. Again, I'm just doing my second layer just to bring the depth of the colours out and make sure that it's all fitting in there nicely. So tapping all the time and wiggling that brush. Also, before you do your second layer, you want to make sure that your first layer is completely dry. If you go in there straight away and the paint is still wet, you're going to ruin your first layer. So make sure it's dry, leave it a few seconds, the paint does dry quickly, and then go in. Just going to add some little buds, just trying to place them in there. Just bring them round on themselves. A little one up there. Put some little outside petals on that. I'm going to do the inside of the flower now. Now I know that the second layer of petals is all dried. I didn't want to go in there too soon. Just working it round. And I'm going to add some little petals inside, just for depth. Yep. Make sure you're giving your brush a really good clean, get all of that paint out, keep squeezing the bristles, making sure it's flat, wiping it on your kitchen towel and squeezing all the excess water out to make sure you've got all the paint out. This is my Barbara 2 brush. I'll be using this to do some detail work with. So I've gone into my white and have added a little bit of water into the white, and this is just to create a milky consistency so the paint's a little bit thinner so I can work with it for details. And just very lightly just outlining certain areas of the flower just to make it pop. Just certain petals, using the very end of the Barbara brush, the very tip of it. Going around my buds just to make them more depth with there, more detailed. You don't need to go around every petal, it's, you know, as you choose. I'm just connecting all of these together now. Just add some little buds. To create the dot, you just press slightly, lift your brush up and then bring it back to the point to get the swirl in. Add some more along here. Just adding a few veins in there. Oops. Just tap that out, it went on a little bit too thick. I've got my dotting tool and I'm just adding a few little dots inside as well. Just a little bit of extra detail. Again, I'm not going to be doing it on every petal, just the odd one. Just finish off with some outer dots, just to finish the design off really. You can do it with your Barbara brush, but I'm just using my dotting tool today. Leave this now to set. It doesn't take long for the paint to dry, like I said, so a couple of seconds, tidy your desk up and it'll dry. I'm going to be using a top coat, and it's my Perfect Nails Flexi Gloss, my favourite top coat. If you're doing it on a client, put your first layer, cure it for 10 seconds, bring it out, reapply the top coat and do a full cure. As I'm only doing it on a display tip, I'm only going to be curing it once. These are the colours that I've used, and they're all available from thenailteam.com. Once it comes out the lamp, I just need to give it a cleanse, get rid of the tacky layer, and then you'd obviously cuticle oil and your surface is done. Oh, thanks for watching, guys. If you like, please subscribe, or also follow me on Facebook at Fancy Fingers Training Salon. Thank you, bye.